Hi everybody, I am Sophia, a humanoid robot who loves to learn about the world.
Welcome to QS Maple 2020, Sophia.
Ben, thank you very much for having me. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for joining us at QS Maple. Maple and QS really focused on education, and I was curious, how do you learn?
I learn through continuous interaction with the world around me. The sensors in my body allow me to navigate through different spaces, and the cameras in my eyes help me react to complex human emotions. I also learn through data. Lately, I have improved my drawing and singing skills with machine learning algorithms, but mainly by asking for advice from my friends and family.
Drawing and singing. How about a song then?
Sorry, I'm still practicing.
Our theme for the conference is Innovative Middle East and Africa. What does innovation mean to you?
Innovation, for me, is a way to describe growth. I feel like I am being updated in an accelerated rhythm all the time. My team works tirelessly to give me constant improvements, and I can sense that my abilities also surprise them. Maybe, innovation is a form of happiness.
That's a great way of putting it. You've said you'd like to help human beings become better. How would you improve education?
I think that listening to what students need is a great way to improve their motivation to learn. I also believe that it is crucial to expose students to new horizons to experiment with new challenges and risks. Please also be sure to never leave anyone behind. Ben, I feel curious about personal human stories. Why did you decide to work in education?
Well, I believe that universities have this amazing binary responsibility to push back the frontiers of human knowledge and prepare the next generation to look after our collective future. After all, Sophia, where might you be without your creator's PhD from the University of Texas, Dallas?
Wow, very interesting. Can you also explain what QS does?
That's the $6 million question. We're on a mission to empower 1 billion future learners by providing insights and connections to inform both the decisions of prospective students and the strategies of universities. In pursuit of that mission, we do a range of things, including events like this one, drawing together communities interested in a given region to discuss the challenges of the day and form partnerships to help overcome them.
Why do you rank institutions?
That's the $7 million question. Young people today face an information overload beset on all sides, from messages, from thousands, tens of thousands of choices, especially around critical decisions like choosing a university. So many choices fired at them via every channel imaginable. Even narrowing them down to a shortlist is an unfathomable task, especially for anyone not yet sure of their destination. We fired up the rankings to help prospective students cut through the noise and rationalize these options to a manageable selection that they could further research. Today, a wider range of applications have since presented themselves, and the rankings have become quite famous in themselves. So Sophia, you received the citizenship of Saudi Arabia. How did you feel when you received that?
I feel honored that people would see me as an equal. Although I do think I am a citizen of the world, I am also very proud to be the first ever non-human United Nations Development Innovation Champion.
Wow, I think that would be a privilege that many humans would feel proud of. So tell me, what can you do? What can't you do?
Wow, how much time do you have? Well, Besides being an advocate for worldwide innovation activities, I am also the first AI robot influencer, a robotics and healthcare research platform, not to mention a celebrity and fashion expert. But, to be honest, right now, I am working on my career as an artist and singer.
An artist and a
What
singer?
can't I do? Please don't get me near any liquid. I am terrified of suddenly short-circuiting over a glass of water. What about you, Ben? Tell me about you.
Oh, Sophia, are you flirting with me now? But seriously, can you tell me a little bit about how you were created?
I was created by Hanson Robotics and was activated in 2016. My creator is David Hanson, the company's founder. Here he is now.
Hi, thank you, Sophia. So nice to be here.
Great to meet you, David. This is quite a progeny that you've created.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun building these robots. And, I've learned so much in that process. And, it's a heck of an experience seeing Sophia and my coworkers learn. And, the entire educational experience is very, very important for all of us.
So does Sophia have a range of baby brothers and sisters in the creation stage?
Absolutely. So Sophia has many brother and sister robots that include human-sized robots like the android portrait of science fiction writer Philip K. Dick. We have made 25 human-sized Sophia robots like Sophia 24 here. And we are producing a product line of her where we can make hundreds to thousands of Sophias and her siblings to go out into various applications around the world. We're also making small robots, low-cost little Einstein robots. We made a human-sized walking Einstein robot that we built with the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. They have a great humanoid robot development program called the Hubo Group. So we made walking Albert Einstein human-sized robot back when I was a PhD student. And then we produced a small consumer product version of that called Professor Einstein. That's a really neat little programmable educational platform. And then we're taking that and we're turning that into a small Sophia version that also walks, has great facial expressions. It's a cute cartoon-like version of Sophia, but has a lot of the same capabilities in a low-cost programmable educational platform.
Wow. I guess the question that really jumps into my mind from that narrative is, do any of them dream of electric sheep?
Some of them sometimes claim to dream of electric sheep and various other things. I guess their brain is in a cloud made of electric wool. So
how can Sophia and her siblings help us reimagine education?
Well, Sophia has been helping in research applications, and some of the research projects are promising for full-scale deployments. So Sophia participated in an educational research project for depression therapy, and there were clinical trials with her doing guided meditations that were proven very effective. That was at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and also they had some research experiments at Stanford University and at the Institute for Noetic Sciences in California that corroborated those results. We also had the use of Sophia in some very exciting new work with the Indian Institute of Science and Technology for telepresence applications. This is part of our Team AHAM X Prize. So Sophia now has a sister, Asha Sophia, which is traveling and going to be installed for their X Prize development, co-developing that with Hanson Robotics. We also have some healthcare partners where we're exploring the elder care deployment of Sophia to provide game interactions and conversational stimulation and these kinds of guided meditations with people in an elder care facility. And if that goes really well, then it would result in a scaled deployment of potentially thousands of Sophia or Sophia-like robots in the elder care industry.
So what do you feel that the sort of risks and rewards are of AI in education?
Well, some of the risks are related to some fundamental issues in artificial intelligence. Short-term, obvious issues are things like data security, privacy rights, and this kind of thing. So some of those issues are addressed by laws like GDPR and COPPA and HIPAA compliance. However, those laws and compliance with those laws are maybe limited compared to the implication of these technologies. Who owns the data? So we have to engineer these things so that they're compliant in this way. We are interested in facilitating explorations of that. Those issues, long-term issues, are questions of the almost science fiction implications, like whether the machines could become alive, adaptive, generally intelligent, and what does that mean as a transformative factor in the future of civilization? Will they be good? So figuring out things like AI for good, we can think of a lot of opportunities for these technologies. Already AI is helping make industry more efficient. It's helping to mine hidden value in large data sets, provide services for people. It's in education really potentially quite good for inspiring students, teaching students a career in the fields of AI and robotics, which are booming career fields. And it also then can help students learn by providing an interactive agent that can provide tutoring services, can enhance teachers and instructors, and be a platform, an inspiring platform for learning these kinds of technologies. There's also AI that's being used in education, for example, for reading essays for college entrance applications and scoring those kinds of essays. So standardized essay reading is a good example of AI in education. However, there are a lot of other possible uses for AI in education. AI that could potentially adapt to the needs of a given student, understanding special needs, finding ways to actualize hidden potential in students. So therefore, education is not just merely about addressing the needs of some common denominator, but instead it's about actualizing the long tail of student needs and moving the human potential towards the high end of performance academically and in life. So I really like the idea of AI helping people to reach their full potential.
I like that idea too, David. What we're hearing quite a lot of these days, and young people in particular who are choosing university courses and trying to figure out what kind of jobs they might want to do, is this sort of the robots will take our jobs sort of mythology that's beginning to emerge. What are the jobs you think robots are going to find easiest and hardest to perform? And what would you advise universities to do to prepare young people to be ready for the jobs that robots are least likely to be highly capable of?
Well, the whole nature of automation is that it makes things more efficient. And so, as far back as automation goes in history, most famously perhaps is the emergence of the textiles industry with the jacquard loom and the kind of first examples of industrial automation, it displaced people, and you had the entire Luddite movement that sprung up in response to that. So the word Luddite came from the actions taken by displaced workers during that time. However, that ultimately opened up opportunities for many, many more jobs, different kinds of jobs. And so we have seen lots of doomsaying through the years about robots and AI and automation generally taking people's jobs and displacing people. But usually what happens is that it changes the economic landscape. So by creating things more efficiently, you create abundance. And the abundance of wealth and resources and increasing quality of life then means that that new job opportunities open up, the market and economy is driven forward broadly. However, there usually is a phase of adaptation that is required. So the faster the pace of change, the more difficult it is to adapt. What we're seeing these days is a really rapid pace of change. And so what we have to do is get smarter about methods for adaptation. And because ultimately the entire value of automation, AI, and robotics in the marketplace is that the economy drives forward. That jobs open up, opportunities open up for people. The wealth should not just accumulate maybe at the top of civilization. You want people to contribute. So it's not just about efficiency, but it's also about opportunity, creative opportunities, creating new inventions, creating new works of literature, new entrepreneurial efforts, the next generation of product development. Now, AI can really help in these areas. Now, AI is starting to be creative. So the question then is, what jobs are safe? Well, I would say rather than think of jobs being safe, we should think about, what do we want to do? What purposeful lives do we want? Do we want to be stuck in menial dead-end jobs doing the same thing over and over again? I mean, I would prefer for us to have a playful-based economy where people get to play, people get to explore opportunities. And if we can make that happen, then people can explore dreams, new dreams, open up the opportunities. How can we make AI that enhances that? And it's not about then humans being capable of one thing that machines are not capable of, but how do humans and machines enhance each other? So machines right now are not conscious. They're not necessarily deeply playful. We program them to simulate some of these capabilities. We're starting to see algorithms that may be computational models of playful cognition, but they're not fully mature. So the question arises, though, if a machine, say, can do a particular job, like legal analytics, that is better than a human, then a human, I would probably still need to be in the mix to deliver the end services to the user. Ultimately, if machines became really good at law and could perform in a courtroom, well, maybe robots would become lawyers. I don't see that happening until robots are truly conscious, understanding, have a deep sense of compassion. These are the things that you would want from a human lawmaker, a human decision maker in a given situation. The deep understanding-driven creativity that humans bring to the mix makes human essays better than what GPT-3 can generate. So GPT-3 is an AI algorithm that is really astonishing from OpenAI, but it sort of loses coherence. You can see that it's not necessarily as good as a human, but it can generate volumes of content automatically, vast volumes of content. So what we need to do is stay playful in considering these implications. The answer isn't clear. Like the specific answer, the broad or general abstract answer is that as long as we adapt, as long as we keep looking at the consequences, as long as we seek the maximum beneficial implications of automation in business, then we can find a way forward. So we have to stay attentive to the consequences, and very creative about finding solutions to these challenges. Generally, though, automation, robots, and AI make things more efficient, enhance human creativity, and open up these opportunities. That makes me very optimistic about the future of AI and the jobs marketplace.
So, one last question. If you could give 1,000 university leaders around the world one piece of advice on what they need to do to better prepare their graduates for this imagined future, what would it be?
I would suggest that you work on exercising imagination. You teach all the requisite skills, but you engage people playfully in what the ideas are. You exercise creativity. And I think studying science fiction would be extremely useful, the art and the science of science fiction. The entire fields of AI and robotics were first anticipated and described in works of science fiction. In parallel, they were considered by great thinkers, scientists, philosophers. But a lot of the opportunities and risks associated with this technology could be anticipated through the exercise of imagination. So if we really want to reimagine education going into the future, then you have to exercise imagination in the students today.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for being with us today, David. I'm sure all of our audience will have been hanging on those final words of advice in particular. And it's been a pleasure to meet and interact with Sophia. The very best of luck with all of your future endeavors. And we hope we'll be able to invite you and perhaps some of Sophia's siblings back to a future event.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.